Hello, it's Miss Melton to talk to you about decimals and review everything that you should have learned in our fourth grade decimal unit. So first, you want to be able to pause the video and you should be able to label this place value chart with what each place is called. So pause the video and then you can play for an explanation. So here's my decimal. So to the left of my decimal, I have ones, tens, hundreds. And then to the right of my decimal, I have tenths with a TH at the end and hundredths with a TH at the end. Which side of the decimal shows how many holes you have. So the holes are to the left and to the parts of a hole are to the right. For this next part, you need to match up the decimal form with the correct word form. So pause the video, see if you can match them up, and then check your answers. So first we have on the right 5/10. I know tenths is the decimal directly to the right of the decimal point. So this is 5/10. 5 and 5/100. 5 and, that means 5 is the whole and is the decimal. So the only one with 5 and 5/100 is that one. Then we have 5/100. That would be like 5 out of 100, like 5 pennies. So that's that one. And then 50/100 is the same as 5/10. So 5/10 and 50/100 are equivalent. Now for this one, you are going to make the decimals with your base 10 blocks. You can draw them and then write it in the standard decimal form. So pause the video, see if you can draw a couple of them and write them as decimals, and then you can check your answers. So 7/10 would be 0 and 7/10, and you would draw 7 rods. 70/100 would be 0.70, and it would also be 7 rods. So those are equivalent decimals. 5/100 was on the last slide, 0.05, and that would be 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 30/100, that would be 10, 20, 3 rods, 0.30. And 3/10 is also 3 rods. So 30/100 and 3/10 are equivalent. 1 and 2/10, that's a whole. 2/10, so, oops, 1, sorry. 1 decimal, 2/10. And then 5 and 3/100. 5 is the whole decimal. No tenths, it is 0.3. So to draw that, I would draw 5 flats and then 3 units. Make models of each decimal using base 10 blocks. So draw the model here and then pause the video and check your answer when you're done drawing. So if we say this is 3 and 59/100, so that's 3 whole, 3 ones, and then 5/10, 50, 4, 5, 50, and then 9 units, 51, 52, 53, oops, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, and 59. So that is 3 and 59/100. Now you try the next one. Did you draw 2 holes and 6 units? That's 2 and 6/100. Try this one. Did you draw 3 holes, 3 flats, and 7/10 would be 7 rods? Now, this next one we're going to use greater, less than, or equal to, and you can compare them by practice modeling them. So 9/100, hundredths are the little units. So that's 9/100, and this is 9 right behind the decimal where the dimes would be. So that is 9/10. So that is almost 1 whole. So now I can clearly see that 9 hundredths is less than 9 tenths. You try drawing this one out and then check your answer. If I draw 7 tenths, or the 7 dimes, that's 70 cents. Oh, and look at that, 70 out of 100, 70 hundredths. They are equal. Try this one, write it down, and see if you can get the correct answer. That's 6 tenths, right behind the decimal. And this is 56 hundredths. So it is 4 away from being equal, but they are not equal. 6 tenths is greater because that would be like having 60 cents. 6 rods is 60 hundredths. Now, this one you're going to order from least to greatest. So first you need to model each one, and then you can order it least to greatest. So you can pause the video before you check your answers. So I'm going to do this. First one is 1 whole, and that is 5 hundredths. So I'm going to put this here. And the next one is 1 whole and 5 tenths, or 5 rods. It's exactly half. And then the next one is 1 whole and 25 hundredths. So that would be 2 rods, like a quarter, and 5. I know it's hard, you can't see the bottom, but there's another one on the bottom. And 1 whole and 15 hundredths is this one. So the most, I need to do least to greatest. So the least would be this one. This is the least. Then second is this one. Then third. Then fourth, the biggest, the greatest, is 1 and 5 tenths. Now for these, you need to write equivalent decimals. So to make 4 tenths, that's the same as 40 hundredths. So I put 0.40. 5 and 7 tenths is the same as 5 and 70 hundredths. Put a little equal sign. And then 9 and 0 tenths is the same as 0 hundredths, or I could just put 9 equals 9. Now you try these three, pause the video and see if you get the correct answer. Basically, I'm just putting my invisible 0 right behind it. 9 tenths equals 90 hundredths, 4 and 5 tenths equals 4 and 50 hundredths, 3 and 2 tenths equals 3 and 20 hundredths. Now these last couple are just a review questions, see if you can get them right, and I will explain a little bit each one. Which of the following is the greatest number? So I look, they all have the ones the same. Pick your answer. All right, so now I go to the ones is the same, I go to the tenths. So the greatest tenths is A. Which place value would you use to compare the numbers? So they're asking which place value would I look at? Pick your answer. So I look at the tens, but they're the same. Does that help me? No. I look at the ones, tens, ones, they're the same. So then I go to the tenths. Are they the same? No. That is what I'm going to look at to decide which one is greater or less than. And so I'm looking at the tenths place. Which friend lives the greatest distance from school? Pick your answer. The greatest distance would be the furthest one away, so the biggest number. So I'm looking at the ones, they're the same. I look at the tenths. Ooh, I have different answers. I have 2 6s and 2 2s, so I can slash the trash and try Ned or Andre. Well, I go to the hundredths. 2 is less than 6, so the greatest would be Andre. Which friend lives the least distance from school? So now it's the opposite. Pick your answer. Again, the ones are the same. I look at the tenths. I have 6 is too big. 6 is too big, so I'm going to try the 2 or the 2. So I go to the hundredths place. Paula lives the least furthest away from school because 1/100th is less than 4/100ths. Last one, put these numbers in order from least to greatest. You can pause and pick your answer. Least, so I go ones, they're the same. So I go to the tenths, I have a 1, I have a 2, and a 2. So the least is going to be 8 and 18/100ths. So I can cross out C and D. Now I have to decide 8. Oh, there's nothing in the hundreds. Nothing means it's a 0. So what is less? 8 or 0? 0 is less. So it'd be 8 and 18/100ths, 8 and 2/10ths, and then 8 and 28/100ths is the greatest. And that is your review for decimals.